today, the breaking news is coming in fast and furious by design. So we're going to do something out of the gates and slow it down, also by design. You heard it here yesterday from one of our guests. This is not a drill. You also heard expert analysis that we have, quote, crossed the Rubicon. Well, what does that mean? Today, the New York Times reporter Adam Liptak puts it this way, quote, the Trump administration's compliance with court orders started with foot dragging, moved to semantic gymnastics, and has now arrived at the cusp of outright defiance. Where we go from here, now that Donald Trump is acting in defiance of the Supreme Court's unanimous decision that he facilitate the return of a man who was, according to the Trump administration, mistakenly deported to El Salvador. It's a question not just for the Trump administration, but for us, the American people, as well. Moments ago, prior to a court hearing happening right now, where the DOJ is answering for its lack of compliance with this Supreme Court order on that matter, the wife of Kilmar Abrego Garcia spoke out to the media. Watch.
We will continue standing strong, and we will never give up on you, Kilmar. Even though my heart is heavy, I find hope and strength in those around me. Kilmar needs to come home, and it's time we see how exact this will be fulfilled. Enough is enough. My family can't be robbed from another day without seeing Kilmar. This administration has already taken so much from my children's, from Kilmar's mother, brother, sisters, and me.
Now, the New York Times is also reporting on other individuals deported by the Trump administration. Quote, the Trump administration sent them to a prison in El Salvador under a wartime act, calling them members of a Venezuelan gang. But a New York Times investigation found little evidence of criminal backgrounds or links to the gang, end quote. We also have new reports on what appears to be, on its face, First Amendment activity being punished with deportation. Yesterday, a Columbia University student who is a legal permanent resident of the United States was arrested in Vermont during a naturalization interview. That is according to his lawyer. The stories, the reporting, when taken together, represent a departure from that which is legal, according to the reaction all these incidents have received in federal courts. These actions also stretch beyond the political campaign rhetoric, erasing any notion that Trump has a mandate to do these specific things. The real story, though, is what do we do as citizens? What do we do as a free press? And what can we expect from Democrats and Republicans in Congress and politicians at the local and state level at this moment? Make no mistake, the frenzy and the defiance is designed to cause fear and to chill criticism and to silence dissent. It's also where we start today with some of our favorite experts and friends. Immigration attorney and former president of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, Alan Orr, is here. With me at the table, former top prosecutor at the Department of Justice, MSNBC legal analyst Andrew Weitzman is back, and former Democratic Senator, MSNBC political analyst Claire McCaskill is here. Let me start with the lack of a mandate. Let me just remind everyone where the polls are. Right now, Trump's approval rating on immigration is upside down. More people disapprove than approve of what he is doing on the topic of immigration. And when you dig just below the surface, here's where the public is. Support for deporting immigrants who have a job. Only 15% of Americans support doing that. Support for deporting immigrants who are parents of children born in the U.S. 14%. 14% of the public thinks that's a good idea. Support for deporting immigrants who came to the United States as children, just 9%. Support for deporting immigrants who are married to a U.S. citizen, 5%. That means 95%, 91%, 86%, and 85% of Americans are opposed to doing all of those things.
That's why they're lying, Nicole. That's why they're lying and saying that all of these people are hardened criminals and gang members. They have to, because if they tell the truth about what they've done, frankly, the bottom would fall out even more quickly than it appears to be falling out right now. It is amazing to me when I watch Stephen Miller in the Oval Office distort and use the ultimate form of bad faith in characterizing the Supreme Court decision. Frankly, any pre-law student, any high school graduate that wants to be a lawyer someday could read the Supreme Court decision and see very clearly what it said on its face. It said in the United States of America, you get due process, period. And the idea that they're pretending that it didn't say that somehow that was a victory for them is so beyond the pale. And the American people are going to figure it out. And I think the question you ask is really a good one. What can citizens do? What can people who are in elective office do? And maybe most importantly, is it finally time that the Republicans on Capitol Hill stand up and do their job? I mean, just do your job. We're not asking you to hold a rally against Donald Trump. We're just asking you to perform the functions that the Constitution says you must perform, which is just a check on the executive branch. That shouldn't be asking too much.
This is bubbling up, not in purple states or blue states, but in deep ruby red states. Senator Chuck Grassley was just confronted at a town hall. I think we're working on turning that sound around. Here it is.
Are you going to bring that guy back from El Salvador? Yeah. Why not?
Well, because that's not a power of Congress.
Supreme Court said to bring him back.
Yeah, but
What can they do?
He's defined the Constitution. Committee.
Trump don't care.
If I get an order to pay a ticket for $1,200 and I just say no, does that stand up? Because he's got an order from the Supreme Court and he just said no.
Yeah. He just said screw it.
the president of that country is not subject to our U.S. Supreme Court.
If Trump wanted to bring him back, they'd bring him back. I'm pissed.
There is an old, I think it's like 60s era sort of ad man adage that you can't make the dog eat the dog food if it sucks. And I think what Republicans are finding is you can't make the people eat the sand. They are peddling BS to their own voters in their own states, and the public, their lived reality finally has confronted the sort of dystopian non-reality of Trumpism.
I'm going to repeat something you said at the outset when we were starting to cover what is going on in terms of immigration. There is a way for this administration to be really tough on immigration, to deport people and follow the law. What I think you're hearing in these clips is people can be absolutely tough on gang members being deported, on making sure that our borders are as closed as possible, and follow law. This is not mutually exclusive.
Well, people can, but clearly the Trump administration can't. I mean, Obama could.
No,
Trump
this
can't.
is absolutely. This is a choice. It is a choice. This is why I was just trying to count up. In the 80 days, we have courts of all stripes, violations of the First Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the Alien Enemies Act, congressional statutes, up one side and down the other, found by judges of all political persuasions. None of that is necessary. I remember Senator Murkowski, when this started, said, you know what? So much of this could be done by following the law. There's no evidence whatsoever that's been presented to the court with respect to Mr. Garcia that he is a gang member. If they have that evidence, there is a way to go to court and follow due process and present that. Instead, they're doing this in the most deliberately both lawless and cruel way. And that's where you would really hope they're going to see the sort of public split off and say, that is not who we are. And I'm just going to tell one quick story. When I was a young prosecutor, actually a young defense lawyer, I was on a death penalty case, and we were trying to convince a state court that somebody who is mentally challenged in Georgia should not be killed. It was legal to do that federally. And we were in Georgia state court, and I still remember a really conservative bench said, you know what, we are tough on crime in this state, but we are humane. and it is unconstitutional under our state constitution to kill somebody who doesn't have the requisite mental state, who is mentally challenged. And that, I think, is sort of a nutshell of where we are, where people can be like, we can be tough, we can insist that people who are criminals not be in this country if they can be lawfully deported, but you can follow the law. And what we're seeing now is not just lawlessness, it's so cruel. I mean, that is the part that I cannot get over, that you would go to an adult in the room and say that this person was unlawfully removed from this country, is in prison, and it's our mistake, and that the person doesn't respond by saying, how fast can we remedy this? I mean, that is what's remarkable. You have to have the Supreme Court intercede. I mean, that alone is the problem of where we are.
Well, I mean,